Bradley Byrne, a lifelong resident of Southwest Alabama, is currently serving his fourth term in the U.S. House of Representatives. Bradley has committed much of his life to improving the quality of life for Alabamians, dating back to his time on the State Board of Education, in the Alabama State Senate, and as Chancellor of Alabama's community college system. Throughout his career, Bradley has been a fierce advocate for a smaller government that works for the American people. In Congress, Bradley is known to fight for a stronger military, our veterans, Alabama's rural communities, Alabama's farmers and foresters, and Alabama's businesses and workers. He serves as a member of the House Committee of Armed Services and the House Committee on Education and Labor. Bradley and his wife Rebecca reside in Fairhope and are active members of St. James Episcopal Church. We are honored today to have Congressman Bradley Byrne with us. Thank you for coming.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. We just had a breakfast with you. Really enjoyed your comments and insight. I want to thank you as a business owner also, how you've represented small businesses here in the state of Alabama and across this country. Really appreciate that. And as a member of NFIB, also appreciate your voting record, which was referenced as 100% as you listen to the members of NFIB.
I didn't get a whole lot of hundreds in high school, so I'm glad to get 100 and something.
Well, we really appreciate it. And I've got additional questions that I want to ask you here, and then we share with our viewers. From the standpoint of beginning on the Workforce Committee, what is the number one problem facing small business owners?
Well, we don't have enough people in the workforce to begin with. We have a lot of working age Americans, unfortunately younger working age Americans,
right,
who are either not in the workforce or they're not looking for work, and we need for them, if they're not actually in the workforce, to actually get out there and be looking for a job.
Sure.
But secondly, we don't have a good match between the education and skills a lot of these people, particularly young people, have, and the jobs that are being created out there. So both of those are pretty big problems.
Yeah, well, at Five Pine Partners, we work with a lot of small business owners, and that's one of the things that we hear on an ongoing basis is just trying to find workers. And is there a need to focus on rural communities and small businesses in this area even more?
Well, the backbone of the American economy are small businesses.
Right.
Love the big businesses, they get all the attention in the paper when we bring a new one in, but the truth of the matter is, day in and day out, year in and year out, it's the smaller businesses that hire most of our people, provide most of the economic output for the country. And so we need to be focused on them. One problem we're seeing in Alabama, but across the nation, is that there's beginning to be a real pull apart between urban and metropolitan areas and rural areas. You're not going to move America forward, you're not going to move Alabama forward if we're leaving rural communities behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are seeing those same trends. And, we do a lot of research and analysis here. Mm-hmm. And that can have a huge rippling effect on the economy and the growth of businesses. I also wanted to ask you to talk about the regulatory relief we're seeing under this current administration.
Yeah, for 8 years under the previous administration, there was this dramatic ramp up in regulation of everything. And what that shows that they didn't understand is the more regulations, the more burdens you put upon small businesses, any business, the people that create jobs in this country, the less jobs they're going to create, the less wealth they're going to create, the less income and benefits for the rest of us. So ever since President Trump was elected, the Congress and the President have been working together, and we've been rolling back a lot of those regulations. Not to where we've hurt anybody in this country.
Right.
Because a lot of the regulations we didn't need, but we tried to roll them back to the point where they're reasonable. So I'm on the Labor and Education Committee, and I was in charge of the subcommittee where we dealt with things like OSHA, wage and hour law, et cetera. We've been able to make changes that haven't had any negative impact on the employees or workers in America. So there are ways to do this that benefit the economy and don't hurt average Americans. And that's a big part of why the economy's done so darn well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, between the deregulation, tax cuts. And then also, I think energy independence has played a key role in that. A lot of Americans still don't realize that we now have that independence. We're not dependent on foreign oil to come here.
Oh, I remember very clearly the 1970s when we actually had to stand in line to get gas.
Yeah, same here.
When we were dependent upon the Middle East to get our energy.
Sure.
Now we don't have to do that.
That's right.
And that's a sea change for America's national security, but a sea change for our economy.
Yeah, and it's also creating a lot of jobs, as you well know.
An awful lot of
yeah,
jobs.
Very much so. Last question here. Can the rising cost of health care hurt small businesses?
It already is.
Yeah.
It already is. I mean, it's a cost like anything else for a business. And when you have a cost that's going up so dramatically fast, year by year by year, yes, it's hurting. And I think we're not doing nearly enough in Washington about the cost of health care. They passed a law back in 2010. Everybody knows it as Obamacare. But the real name of it was the Affordable Care Act.
Yes.
I call it the Unaffordable Care Act because it's done nothing to address this problem about ever-increasing cost of health care. There are common sense things that we can do in Washington to help with that. In some cases, get out of the way. But in other cases, there are affirmative things we can do, like allowing people to buy their health insurance across state lines so we have a true national market for it. Like making sure that because the government plays a big role in health care and Medicaid and Medicare, that we start negotiating with these pharmaceutical companies to get the cost of pharmaceuticals down, use our leverage to do it. So we need to be doing more things in Washington to help control health care costs. All of us want to have high quality health care, and we want high quality health care for all of our neighbors.
Absolutely.
We all want that.
Very much so.
The question is, how do you get there in a way that's the most efficient and cost effective for everybody?
Yeah. Well, I can't thank you enough for taking this time to answer these questions. I have said this, and I will say it again. When I talk to people about you, and if I reference you as Congressman Byrne, they will say, "Oh, Bradley."
Yeah.
And that speaks volumes because
you.
it says that people feel like they can talk to you, you're approachable, that you listen to what they have to say, and we appreciate you being a voice and representing us here in the state of Alabama.
Thank you.
And really appreciate all your efforts there out of Washington, D.C., and on behalf of Five Plan Partners and also as an NFIB member, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely.
Good.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to watch. We appreciate it very much, and hopefully you've gotten some great insight here with this interview with Congressman Bradley Byrne. Thank you.